The alarm on the bridge of the Wanderer broke the silence of deep space. Emma Collins jumped from her seat in the xenobiology lab and ran toward the command deck. Her heart pounded as she heard Captain Daniel Rogers calling all senior staff to report immediately. Emma was only 19 years old and fresh out of the academy. This was her first real mission into unexplored space. She had been cataloging samples from their last planetary survey when the alarm started. Now she stood at the back of the bridge, trying to stay out of the way while the experienced crew worked. "What do we have?" Captain Rogers asked. His voice was calm but firm. He had been exploring space for 20 years and had seen many strange things. Lieutenant at the communications station looked up from her screen. Her face showed confusion and worry. "Sir, we are picking up a distress beacon, but it is old, very old." "How old?" the captain asked. "Over 800 years, sir. The signal has been broadcasting on a loop all that time." Dr. Lisa, the chief scientist, stepped forward. She pulled up the data on the main screen. "This is impossible. No power source should last that long. Whatever is sending this signal has technology far beyond anything we know." Emma moved closer to see the screen better. The signal was weak but steady. It pulsed like a heartbeat. Something about it made her chest feel tight. "Can we translate the message?" Captain Rogers asked. Shook her head. "Not completely. The language is unknown, but our computers have found some patterns. It keeps repeating 3 phrases. Soul death, eternal thirst, please." The bridge went quiet. Emma felt a chill run down her spine. She had studied hundreds of alien languages at the academy, but she had never heard of anything like this. "Where is the signal coming from?" the captain asked. "The planet 9, Doctor said. She pulled up more data. "But sir, there is a problem. This planet is marked as forbidden by the Galactic Council. No one is allowed to go there. The Council put up warning beacons all around this system 300 years ago." Captain Rogers frowned. "Why is it forbidden?" "The records do not say much, just warnings about extreme danger. The Council says any ship that goes there will be destroyed. They have not given any other explanation." Emma felt something pull at her mind. She could not explain it, but the signal seemed to be calling to her personally. She stepped forward before she could stop herself. "Captain, may I say something?" Everyone turned to look at her. She felt her face grow hot, but she continued. "I have been analyzing the signal frequency. It is strange. The beacon is not broadcasting on normal channels. It is using a wavelength that matches human neural patterns, almost like it is designed specifically for human brains to detect." Doctor looked at her with sharp eyes. "That is impossible. This signal is 800 years old. Humans did not even have space flight back then. How could it be designed for us?" "I do not know," Emma said. "But I ran the analysis 3 times. The frequency is perfect for human detection. Other species would barely notice it, but to us, it should feel almost like someone calling our name." Captain Rogers studied the data on the screen. His jaw was tight as he thought. Finally, he turned to his security officer. "Jake, what do you think?" Jake Stevens was a big man with scars on his face from past battles. He looked at the data and shook his head. "I do not like it, sir. The Council does not mark planets as forbidden for no reason. This feels like a trap." "A trap that has been waiting for 800 years, the captain asked. "Maybe it is waiting for the right victim," Jake said. Emma spoke up again. "Or maybe it is waiting for someone who can help." Everyone looked at her again. She felt her hands shake, but she kept talking. "The message says please. It talks about soul death and eternal thirst. This does not sound like a trap. It sounds like someone is suffering, someone who has been suffering for centuries." Doctor crossed her arms. "Even if that is true, we cannot just ignore Council law. They will destroy us if we enter that system." Captain Rogers walked to the viewing window. He stared out at the stars for a long moment. Emma could see him thinking hard about what to do. "How far away is the nearest Council patrol?" he asked. "Checked her sensors. 2 weeks at least, sir. This sector is remote." The captain nodded slowly. "We are explorers. Our mission is to investigate the unknown and help those in need. An 800-year-old distress signal from a forbidden planet. This is exactly what we trained for." "Sir, I must protest," Doctor said. "The risks are too high." "Noted," Captain Rogers said. "But my decision is made. We will investigate. However, we will be careful, full shields up, weapons ready. At the first sign of real danger, we leave immediately. He turned to Emma. You said the signal is designed for humans. I want you on the landing party. Emma felt her heart jump. Me, sir. You detected something no one else did. If this signal really is calling to us, you might be able to understand it better. Doctor looked unhappy but said nothing. Jake stepped forward. Sir, if she goes, I go. Someone needs to keep the scientists alive. Captain Rogers nodded. Agreed. Doctor, you will lead the science team. Jake handles security. Emma, you focus on that signal. Figure out what it really wants. Emma felt excited and terrified at the same time. This was what she had dreamed about at the academy. Real exploration, real discovery. But the fear in everyone's eyes reminded her that it was also real danger. That night, Emma could not sleep. She lay in her quarters and listened to the signal playing through her personal computer. The more she listened, the more she felt something pulling at her heart. It was not just a distress call. It felt like loneliness, like someone who had been alone for so long they had almost forgotten what connection felt like. She dreamed of caverns filled with crystal and light. She dreamed of something massive and ancient, curled up in darkness. She dreamed of eyes that glowed with dying hope. When she woke up, the Wanderer was entering orbit around 9. Through her window, she could see the planet below. It looked dead and dry, covered in strange formations that caught the light like diamonds. Emma got dressed and headed to the airlock. Her hands touched the cold metal door, and suddenly she felt it. A pull so strong it almost knocked her down. Something on that planet was waiting for her. Something that had been waiting for a very, very long time. The landing shuttle touched down on the surface of 9 with a soft thud. Emma looked out the window and felt her breath catch in her throat. The planet was unlike anything she had ever seen. The ground was covered in crystal formations that rose like trees. They were all different colors, ranging from deep blue to bright gold. Each one hummed with a soft vibration that Emma could feel in her bones. The crystals caught the light from the distant sun and scattered it in 1,000 directions. Atmosphere is breathable, Doctor said, checking her instruments. But barely. The air is very dry. We can survive without suits, but I recommend keeping them on. Jake was already at the door with his weapon ready. I am going out first. Stay behind me until I say it is clear. He opened the shuttle door and stepped onto the crystal ground. His boots crunched on the surface. He looked around carefully, checking for any threats. After a moment, he waved them forward. Emma stepped out and immediately felt the pull again. It was stronger now. She turned her head to the left and saw a large opening in the side of a cliff. The entrance was dark and deep. The signal is coming from there, she said, pointing. Doctor checked her scanner. Confirmed. The source is approximately 2 kilometers underground. There is a massive cavern system beneath us. They walked toward the cave entrance. The crystal formations grew thicker as they got closer. Some of them were taller than the shuttle. Emma noticed that they all seemed to lean toward the cave, like plants growing toward sunlight. This is strange, Doctor said. These crystals are not natural. They have been placed here deliberately. Look at the pattern. She was right. The crystals formed a path leading directly to the cave. It was like someone had built a road. Jake stopped at the cave entrance and turned on his flashlight. The beam cut through the darkness and revealed walls covered in markings. They were not random scratches. They were writing. Emma, can you read this? Doctor asked. Emma moved closer and studied the symbols. They were old and worn, but she recognized some patterns from her studies. She traced her fingers over the marks. It is a warning, she said slowly. It says, the guardian sleeps. Do not wake what cannot be killed. Do not free what cannot be trusted. Wonderful, Jake muttered. A warning? Why is it always a warning? They entered the cave carefully. The temperature dropped immediately. Emma could see her breath in the air. The crystals continued inside, growing from the walls and ceiling. They provided a soft glow that lit their way. After walking for 10 minutes, they entered a larger chamber. Emma stopped and stared. The walls were covered in murals. They showed scenes from an ancient civilization. She saw buildings and cities, people who looked almost human but with longer limbs and strange markings on their skin. In the center of every mural was the same figure, a massive creature with wings and scales. It looked like the dragons from Earth legends, but different, more elegant, more intelligent. Its eyes in the painting seemed to hold wisdom and sadness. What is this? Jake asked. Emma walked along the wall, reading the story the murals told. These people lived here long ago. They worshipped this creature. They called it the Guardian. It protected them and helped them grow. She moved to the next section. The images changed. Now they showed the people looking afraid. The Guardian was still there, but the people were running from it. Something changed, Emma said. They became afraid. They thought the Guardian would harm them. The final murals showed the Guardian trapped in chains made of crystal. The people stood around it with weapons. The last image showed them sealing it away in darkness. Doctor scanned the walls. These paintings are over 800 years old. They match the age of the distress signal. So this Guardian has been trapped here all this time, Emma said, alone in the dark. Jake checked his weapon. If they trapped it, they had a reason. Maybe we should turn back. But Emma felt the pull stronger than ever. No, we have to keep going. Something is wrong with this story. Look at the Guardian's face in the last painting. They all looked. Even trapped and chained, the Guardian's painted eyes showed no anger, only sadness. They continued deeper into the cave system. The path sloped downward. Emma felt the air getting colder and drier. Her throat started to hurt from the lack of moisture. After another 20 minutes, they entered a massive chamber. Emma stopped and grabbed Doctor's arm. In the center of the room was a prison made of crystal. It was huge, easily 30 meters tall. Inside the crystal, she could see something moving. Contact, Jake said, raising his weapon. I have visual on a life form. Emma pushed his weapon down. Wait, just wait. She walked toward the crystal prison slowly. As she got closer, she could see more clearly. Inside the crystal was a creature that matched the murals, a dragon, but it looked nothing like the proud Guardian in the paintings. This creature was dying. Its scales were dull and cracked. Its wings hung limply at its sides. Its eyes were closed and its breathing was shallow. Emma could see its ribs through its thin skin. It is starving, she whispered. Doctor scanned it. Not starving for food, at least not food as we understand it. Its body shows no signs of physical hunger, but something is wrong. Its life signs are failing. Emma reached out and touched the crystal barrier. The moment her hand made contact, the creature's eyes opened. They glowed with a faint light like dying stars. Then she heard a voice in her mind. It was not words. It was feeling, pure emotion that crashed over her like a wave. Loneliness, such terrible loneliness. 800 years of isolation, 800 years of darkness, 800 years of slowly fatting away. And thirst, not for water, for connection, for contact, for the touch of another soul. Emma gasped and pulled her hand back. Tears ran down her face. What happened? Jake asked, moving to her side. Are you hurt? It spoke to me, Emma said. Not with words, with feelings. It has been alone for so long. It is dying of loneliness. Doctor stepped forward. That is impossible. No creature dies from loneliness. Humans can, Emma said quietly. Bobbies die if they are not held. Adults lose their minds in isolation. Why should this creature be different? She looked back at the dragon. Its eyes were still open, watching her. She felt the pull again, stronger now. It was not trying to trap her. It was begging, pleading for help. Emma walked closer to the crystal. She placed both hands on the barrier. The dragon inside shifted slightly, moving its head closer to where she stood. Please, Emma whispered. What do you need? What can I do? The crystal under her hands began to crack. A thin line appeared, running from where she touched up toward the ceiling. Jake grabbed her shoulder. Emma stepped back now. But Emma did not move. She felt tears on her face, but she did not know if they were hers or the dragon's emotions bleeding through. It is dying, she said. After 800 years of suffering, it is finally dying, and it called for help. It called specifically for us, for humans. More cracks appeared in the crystal. The dragon's eyes grew brighter. Why humans? Doctor asked. Why would it call for our species? Emma felt the answer bloom in her mind. Because we understand. Because humans know what it is like to be alone, to be feared, to be trapped by those who do not understand. The crystal prison shattered. Pieces fell to the ground like rain. The dragon collapsed, too weak to stand. Its breathing grew more shallow. Emma ran forward without thinking. She dropped to her knees beside the massive head. Up close, she could see how beautiful it had once been. Even dying, it had grace. I am here, she said, placing her hand on its scaled snout. You are not alone anymore, I am here. The dragon's eye focused on her. She felt something pass between them, a connection, a understanding, and beneath it all, a warning. If she helped this creature, everything would change. For her, for humanity, for the galaxy. The dragon's eye closed for a moment. Then Emma felt something enter her mind. Not words, but images and feelings that flooded through her consciousness like a river breaking through a dam. She saw galaxies spinning in the void of space. She saw worlds covered in life. She saw the dragon flying between stars, young and strong and full of purpose, and she saw others like it, hundreds of them, a whole species of star dragons moving through the cosmos. Then the images shifted. Emma saw what the dragons fed on, not flesh or blood or any physical thing. They fed on soul essence, the pure energy that came from living beings when they felt joy, hope, creativity, love. The dragons would visit worlds and share in the happiness of the creatures there. They took only what was freely given, and in return they protected those worlds from harm. They were guardians, keepers of life across the galaxy. But then came the fear. Emma saw species that did not understand. They thought the dragons were stealing their souls, consuming them. They did not realize the dragons only shared in their emotions, never taking what was not offered. The fear turned to hatred. Hatred turned to war. And one by one the star dragons were hunted down and killed. The Galactic Council, young and afraid of what they did not understand, declared the dragons a threat. They offered rewards for dragon corpses. They celebrated each death as a victory. Until only one remained. This one, Emma gasped as she learned the dragon's name, the last guardian. The images continued. Emma saw flee to this remote planet, hopping to hide among the primitive people who lived here. For a time, it worked. The people of Nine welcomed the guardian. They shared their joy and dreams freely, protected them from asteroids and solar flares. For decades, there was peace. But the fear came here too. Whispers from traders who visited from other worlds, stories about soul-stealing monsters. The people began to doubt. They began to fear that would consume them completely. They built the crystal prison using ancient technology they barely understood. They trapped inside, cutting it off from all life, from all connection, from all soul essence. And then they left. The entire civilization evacuated the planet, leaving alone in the dark. For 847 years had been trapped, unable to feed, unable to connect, slowly dying of spiritual starvation. The images faded. Emma found herself back in the cave, tears streaming down her face. Her hand was still on scales. "I saw it all," she whispered. "Everything they did to you, everything you lost." Jake and Doctor stood nearby, weapons ready but confused. They could not see what Emma had seen. "Emma, what is happening?" Doctor asked carefully. Emma turned to face them. "This creature is called, it is the last of its kind. The Galactic Council hunted its species to extinction because they were afraid, and these people trapped it here because they believed lies." "How do you know this?" Jake asked. "It showed me, through memories. This species does not communicate with words. They share experiences directly, mind to mind." Doctor's eyes went wide. "That is incredible. The scientific implications alone would revolutionize our understanding of consciousness and communication." "That is not important right now," Emma said sharply. "What is important is that is dying. It has been dying for centuries, and it called us here because it sensed something in humans, something it hoped could save it." "What did it sense?" Jake asked. Emma looked back at the dragon. Its breathing was growing weaker. Each breath seemed harder than the last. "It sensed compassion. Humans have something other species do not have in the same measure. We feel deeply for others, even those completely different from us. Even those we just met. Our souls burn bright with empathy." She knelt beside again. "What do you need from me? How can I help you?" Images flooded her mind again. She saw what needed. Soul essence. The energy of a living, feeling being freely shared. But after so long without feeding was nearly dead. It would need a massive amount of essence to survive, more than any single being had ever given before. And the process was dangerous. If Emma gave too much, she could die. Her soul could be drained completely, leaving her body empty. Emma understood the risk. She felt trying to push her away, trying to warn her. The dragon would rather die than harm her. But Emma had already made her decision. "I understand," she said out loud. "You need soul essence, and I am offering mine freely." "What?" Jake stepped forward, grabbing her arm. "Emma, no, you do not know what this thing will do to you." Doctor was checking her scanner frantically. "Emma, listen to me. We need to study this first. We need to understand the process. You cannot just offer yourself up without knowing the consequences. Emma pulled her arm free from Jake's grip. She looked at both of them with calm eyes. The consequence is that this being lives or dies based on my choice, and I choose life. You could die, Jake said. His voice was rough with emotion. I could, Emma agreed, but I probably will not, has done this millions of times before. It knows how to take only what is offered. It knows how to stop before causing harm. Probably is not good enough, Jake said. Emma smiled sadly. When is it ever? Every time we step into space, we risk death. Every time we explore a new world, we could die. That is what we signed up for. Doctor shook her head. This is different. This is you choosing to let an alien creature access your mind, your soul. We do not even know if souls exist in a scientific sense. I know they do, Emma said, because I can feel mine right now, and I can feel how bright it burns, bright enough to share. She turned back to, the dragon's eyes were barely open now. Its life was fading fast. If she was going to do this, it had to be now. Tell me what to do, she said to the dragon. Its voice entered her mind, weak but clear. The dragon told her to sit, to close her eyes, to open her heart and mind completely, to think of everything that made her human, her joy, her sorrow, her hopes, her fears, to hold nothing back. And most importantly, to trust. Trust that would take only what was freely given. Trust that the bond between them would protect her. Emma sat cross-legged on the cold stone floor. She closed her eyes and took a deep breath. Emma, please, Jake said, do not do this. I have to, Emma said. This is why I became an explorer, to find those who need help, to make connections across the stars. This is exactly what I was meant to do. She heard Doctor typing frantically on her scanner. I am recording everything. If something goes wrong, at least we will have data. Emma smiled. Even in a moment like this, scientists thought about data. She closed her eyes and began to think. She thought about her childhood on Earth, running through fields with her dog, her mother's laugh, her father teaching her to read the stars. She thought about her dreams of space. The first time she looked through a telescope and saw the rings of Saturn. The day she was accepted to the academy. The moment the Wanderer left Earth orbit with her on board. She thought about kindness, every act of compassion she had ever witnessed or performed. Every time someone helped a stranger. Every time love overcame fear. She felt her soul beginning to glow. It was like a warm light spreading from her chest through her entire body. She opened herself completely and offered it to. The dragon reached out with its mind and gently, carefully began to drink. Emma gasped as she felt the essence flowing out of her. It was not painful. It was like exhaling after holding her breath for too long, like sharing a secret with a friend, like giving a hug to someone who desperately needed it. She felt gratitude wash over her. 800 years of loneliness began to ease. The dragon's life force grew stronger with each moment. But Emma also felt herself growing weaker. Her vision began to blur. Her heartbeat slowed. She was giving too much. Through the connection, she realized the same thing. The dragon tried to pull back, tried to stop taking, but Emma pushed forward. No, she whispered. Take what you need. I trust you. Emma felt herself falling into darkness. Her life force was draining away faster than she expected. She could hear Jake shouting her name, could hear Doctor's scanner beeping an alarm, but the sounds seemed far away. Her heart was slowing, her breathing became shallow. She had given too much. She realized with strange calm that she was dying. Then suddenly everything stopped. The flow of essence reversed. Instead of giving, Emma was receiving. Warmth flooded back into her body, but it was not her own warmth. It was something ancient and powerful and incredibly gentle, was giving back. Images exploded in Emma's mind. She saw the birth of stars. She felt what it was like to fly through the space between galaxies. She experienced 1,000,000,000 moments of joy from 1,000 different worlds. All of its memories, all of its knowledge, all of its love for life itself poured into her. The dragon was not just taking her essence, it was sharing its own. Emma's eyes flew open. They glowed with a soft golden light. She looked at her hands and saw them shining. Her entire body was filled with energy that was both hers and not hers, a perfect blend of human soul and dragon essence. His eyes were fully open now, bright and clear. The dragon's scales began to heal. Color returned to them, shimmering blue and silver in the dim light of the cave. Its wings stretched out, no longer limp and broken, but strong and graceful. The dragon stood on legs that had not held its weight in 800 years. It was massive. Its head nearly touched the ceiling of the enormous cavern, but despite its size, Emma felt no fear, only connection. "What did you do?" she whispered. His voice in her mind was strong now, clear. "I gave back, you offered everything, expecting nothing, so I gave you a gift, part of my essence, part of my soul. We are bonded now, you and I connected forever." Emma stood up. She felt different, stronger, more aware. She could sense Jake's fear and Doctor's amazement without looking at them. She could feel the life force of every living thing on the planet, from the smallest microbe to itself. "Emma," Jake's voice was cautious. He had his weapon pointed at, but his hands were shaking. "Are you okay?" She turned to look at him. "I am more than okay, Jake. I am changed." Doctor stepped forward, scanner in hand. Her scientific curiosity was winning over her fear. "Your readings are incredible. Your brain activity is off the charts. Your heart rate is stronger than it has ever been. And there is some kind of energy signature coming from you that I have never seen before." "It is soul essence," Emma said. "Shared part of itself with me. I can feel it. I can feel everything now." She walked toward Jake and placed a hand on his arm. Immediately, she knew what he was feeling: fear for her safety, anger at himself for not protecting her better, and underneath it all, a deep loyalty and care. "You are a good friend, Jake," she said softly. "You do not need to be afraid for me. I am safe." Jake lowered his weapon slowly. "You sure about that? Because you have got glowing eyes and you are bonded to a dragon. That does not sound safe to me." Emma laughed. The sound echoed through the cavern, and she noticed that hummed along with it. They were connected in ways she was only beginning to understand. Doctor circled around Emma, taking readings from every angle. "This is extraordinary. You have achieved a symbiotic connection with an alien species. The implications for cooperation are staggering." "It is more than cooperation," Emma said. She looked up at. "We are family now, bonded through soul essence. I understand what the dragon needs, and it understands what I need." "And what do you need?" Doctor asked. Emma felt the answer rise up from somewhere deep inside. "Truth, justice, for the galaxy to understand what was done to species, for the lies to end." Lowered its massive head until it was level with Emma. The dragon's eyes were the size of dinner plates, swirling with colors that had no human names. When it spoke, Emma translated out loud so the others could hear. "My kind were hunted to extinction because we saw truth. We could sense the essence of any living being. We knew when someone lied. We knew when corruption hid behind pretty words. The Galactic Council feared us because they had much to hide." Doctor's face went pale. "Are you saying the Council deliberately exterminated your species?" "Not at first," his words flowed through Emma. "At first they believed we were dangerous, but when they learned we could not be fooled or bribed or controlled, they decided we must die. They turned the galaxy against us. They told lies about us stealing souls and destroying worlds. None of it was true." Jake lowered his weapon completely. "And now you are the last one." "I was prepared to be the last one," said. "I was prepared to die alone in that prison. But then I felt something, a ship approaching. And on that ship was a soul that burned brighter than any I had felt in 800 years. The dragon looked at Emma with such tenderness that she felt tears well up in her eyes. "I felt your compassion from across the stars, Emma Collins. I knew that if anyone would help me, it would be a human. Your species is young. You have not yet learned to hide your hearts behind walls of cynicism. You still feel deeply. You still care for strangers. That is your greatest strength." Emma felt the weight of those words. "And now that you are free, what happens now?" Stood to its full height, its wings spread wide, filling the cavern. "Now I give humanity a gift. I give you what my species once gave freely to all. I give you the ability to sense truth, to read the essence of others, to know when you are being lied to." Emma felt something shift inside her. Suddenly, she could sense not just emotions, but deeper truths. She looked at Doctor and knew without asking that the scientist had lost her sister to a council border patrol 5 years ago. She looked at Jake and knew he had once been married, but his wife left him because he chose exploration over family. She could see the truth of people's souls. "This is what the council feared," Emma said slowly. "If humans can sense truth the way dragons could, we become impossible to manipulate." "Exactly," said. "And through your bond with me, you can teach other humans. The gift can spread, not to everyone perhaps, but to those with souls open enough to receive it." Doctor was shaking her head in amazement. This changes everything. Diplomacy, trade, politics. If humans can detect lies, the entire power structure of the galaxy shifts. The Council will not like this, Jake said. They will come after you, after all of us. His mental voice was calm. Let them come. I have been hiding for 800 years. I am tired of hiding. I am tired of being the last. If I must face them, I will do it with truth on my side. Emma felt the dragons resolve through their bond, but she also felt something else. Hope. For the first time in centuries, had hope. We need to tell Captain Rogers, Emma said. We need to tell humanity. The galaxy needs to know the truth about what happened. Are you sure about that? Doctor asked. Once we reveal this, we make ourselves targets. The Council has weapons that can destroy entire planets. Emma looked at the scientist with her new sight. She could see Doctor's fear, but underneath it was a fierce desire for justice, for the truth about her sister's death, for accountability. I am sure, Emma said, because the alternative is letting the lies continue, and I will not do that, not anymore. She placed her hand on scales. The dragon hummed with approval. Then let us go face the galaxy, said, together. Emma smiled, together. They began walking toward the exit of the cavern. Jake and Doctor followed behind, still processing everything they had witnessed. As they climbed back toward the surface, Emma felt the bond between her and growing stronger with each step. She had come to this planet as an intern on a simple exploration mission. She was leaving as something else entirely, a bridge between species, a bearer of truth, and the friend of the last dragon in the galaxy. When they emerged from the cave into the crystal landscape, spread its wings and roared. The sound echoed across the dead planet, a declaration that the last guardian was free at last. In orbit above, the Wanderer picked up the roar on its sensors. Captain Rogers stared at his screen in shock as he watched a dragon take flight for the first time in 8 centuries. And across the galaxy, the Galactic Council received an automated alert. The forbidden planet had been breached. The sealed guardian had escaped. The Council scrambled their fleets, prepared their weapons and their lies. Captain Rogers stood on the bridge of the Wanderer, watching the impossible sight on his viewing screen. A dragon the size of a small ship circled in the sky above 9. On its back rode Emma Collins, her body glowing with golden light. Sir, we are receiving multiple incoming signals, Lieutenant said. Her voice was tight with tension. Galactic Council ships are approaching. 15 vessels. They will be here in 10 minutes. Captain Rogers felt his jaw tighten. He had known this mission might bring trouble, but he had not expected a full Council fleet. Open a channel to Emma, he ordered. A moment later, Emma's face appeared on the screen. She looked different. Her eyes still glowed with that strange golden light, but more than that, she seemed older somehow, wiser. Captain, I know what you are going to say, Emma spoke before he could. But we are not running, not this time. Emma, there are 15 Council warships incoming. This is not a fight we can win. It is not a fight at all, Emma said calmly. It is a reckoning. Behind her roared again. The dragon descended toward the Wanderer, landing gently on the hull. The ship shook slightly under the weight, but the landing was controlled. Permission to come aboard? Emma asked with a small smile. Captain Rogers sighed. Granted, but that dragon stays outside. And I are connected now, Captain. Where I go goes. But the dragon can wait in the cargo bay if that makes you more comfortable. A few minutes later, Emma stood on the bridge. The crew stared at her with a mixture of awe and fear. Her presence felt different now, powerful, ancient. Doctor and Jake stood beside her, both looking exhausted but determined. Report, Captain Rogers said to Doctor. The scientist took a deep breath. Sir, what we found on that planet changes everything we know about galactic history. The creature known as is the last of a species called the Guardians. They were hunted to extinction by the Galactic Council because they could sense truth. They could not be lied to. The Council saw them as a threat to their power. Lieutenant looked up from her console. Council ships are hailing us, sir. They are demanding we surrender Emma Collins and the creature immediately. They say if we do not comply, they will destroy us. Captain Rogers looked at Emma. Can you really sense truth, like Doctor said? Emma nodded. Yes, Captain, I can sense your worry right now, your fear for your crew, your anger at the Council for threatening us. And underneath it all, your determination to do what is right, no matter the cost. The captain's eyes widened slightly. That is accurate. I am also sensing something else, Emma said. I am sensing that the Council Fleet Commander is afraid, terrified actually, not of our weapons, of what I represent, of what humanity might become. And what is that? Captain Rogers asked. Free, Emma said simply. Free from manipulation, free from lies. The Council has controlled the galaxy through deception for centuries. If humans can see through their lies, their power crumbles. The viewing screen flickered. A face appeared. It was an alien with smooth blue skin and 4 eyes. It wore the insignia of a Council fleet admiral. Human vessel wanderer, this is Admiral of the Galactic Council. You have violated quarantine protocols by landing on 9. You have released a dangerous criminal. Surrender it immediately or face destruction. Captain Rogers stepped forward. Admiral, we are a civilian exploration vessel. We responded to a distress signal. We found a being that had been imprisoned unjustly for over 800 years. That being is a threat to galactic security, Admiral said. It and its kind were eliminated for the safety of all species. Emma moved to stand beside the captain. When the Admiral saw her glowing eyes, all 4 of its eyes widened. You are bonded to it, the Admiral said, its voice filled with horror. You have merged with a Guardian. Do you have any idea what you have done? I saved a life, Emma said. I helped a being that was dying of loneliness and spiritual starvation, and in return I received a gift, the gift of truth-seeing. Admiral's face went through several colors. That gift is forbidden. It was forbidden for good reason. Guardians were eliminated because they disrupted order. They made governance impossible. Emma felt anger rise in her chest. Through her bond with, she could sense the truth behind the Admiral's words. She could feel the corruption, the hidden crimes, the countless beings who had suffered under Council rule. You did not eliminate the Guardians for order, Emma said coldly. You eliminated them because they could see your corruption. They could sense every lie, every bribe, every innocent being you harmed to maintain power. The bridge went silent. Even Captain Rogers looked shocked at Emma's accusation. Admiral's face darkened. You know nothing, human child. The Council maintains peace across thousands of worlds. What we do for the greater good. Emma smiled sadly. I can sense when people lie, Admiral, and you just told 3 lies in 2 sentences. The Council does not maintain peace. It maintains control. And what you do is not for the greater good. It is for your own power. The Admiral's hands clenched. You will surrender now, or we will open fire. No, Emma said. You will not. Because I am broadcasting this conversation to every human colony in this sector, and to several other species networks as well. The galaxy is watching. If you destroy an unarmed exploration vessel, everyone will see what the Council really is. Lieutenant looked up in surprise. Sir, she is right. Someone is broadcasting our signal across multiple networks. It is being picked up by millions of receivers. Doctor pulled out her scanner. That is, the dragon is amplifying our communications. It has technology we do not understand. Admiral looked furious. This changes nothing. We will destroy your vessel and claim it was self-defense. Emma shook her head. That would be another lie, and there are other species in the galaxy who are tired of being lied to, tired of being controlled. All they needed was proof. Now they have it. She gestured to the screen. Show them, Lieutenant. Pulled up data feeds from across the galaxy. Messages were flooding in. Species that had been quiet for centuries were suddenly speaking up. They were sharing their own stories of Council corruption, of unjust laws, of beings imprisoned or killed for questioning authority. The truth was spreading, and it was spreading fast. You have doomed yourself, human, Admiral said. You have made an enemy of the most powerful organization in the galaxy. No, Captain Rogers said, stepping forward. She has exposed the truth, and truth does not need to be powerful, it just needs to be heard. The Admiral cut the transmission. For a moment the bridge was silent. Then alarms started blaring. Council ships are charging weapons, Jake said, checking the tactical display. They are preparing to fire. Emma closed her eyes and reached out through her bond with. She felt the dragon's calm presence. Its absolute certainty. They will not fire, Emma said. How do you know? Captain Rogers asked. Because they are being watched by the entire galaxy now, and because there are other ships arriving. On the viewing screen, new signatures appeared, ships from dozens of different species. Some were small trading vessels, others were military craft. They came from all directions, surrounding the Council fleet. A new transmission came through. It was from a species Emma had only read about. The ancient traders who had remained neutral in galactic politics for. "This is Trade Master of the Union," a voice said. "We have monitored the events at 9. We have heard the accusations against the Council. We demand an open investigation, and we demand the human vessel be allowed to leave in peace." More voices joined in, species after species, calling for truth, calling for justice, calling for an end to Council secrecy. Admiral appeared on screen again. Its face was a mask of barely controlled rage. "This is not over, human. The Council has survived for 10,000 years. We will survive this too." "Maybe," Emma said, "but you will not survive unchanged. The galaxy has seen the truth. There is no going back now." The transmission ended. The Council fleet held its position but did not fire. They were trapped by their own rules. If they attacked now with the entire galaxy watching, they would prove everything Emma had said was true. Captain Rogers turned to Emma. "What happens now?" Emma felt the weight of the question. She was 19 years old. A week ago, she had been a simple intern studying plant samples. Now she had changed the course of galactic history. "Now we go home," Emma said. "We go back to human space and share what we have learned. We teach others to sense truth. We prepare for what comes next." "And what does come next?" Doctor asked. Emma looked out at the stars. Through her bond with she could sense the galaxy shifting, old powers falling, new alliances forming, a future full of uncertainty but also hope. "Change," Emma said. "Real change. For the first time in thousands of years, the galaxy has a chance to be free, free from manipulation, free from lies." His voice filled her mind, and she smiled. "But first wants to fly. The dragon has been trapped for 800 years. It deserves to feel the solar wind again." Captain Rogers nodded. "Then let us give your friend some space to fly. All ships prepare to return to human space." As the Wanderer turned toward home, Emma walked to the cargo bay where waited. The dragon looked at her with those ancient, knowing eyes. "Thank you," Emma said out loud, "for trusting me, for sharing your gift." Nuzzled her gently with its massive head. "Thank you for hearing my call. Thank you for your compassion. Together, we will show the galaxy what it means to live in truth." Emma climbed onto the dragon's back, launched from the ship and soared into space. No suit, no protection, just the dragon's essence surrounding her, keeping her safe in the void. They flew past the Council ships, past the gathering of other vessels. They flew beyond 9 into open space. And for the first time in 847 years, the last Guardian was free. Emma looked back at the Wanderer. She thought about her crew, her friends, her species. She thought about the future that lay ahead. The challenges, the dangers, the possibilities. She had gone looking for the unknown. She had found it. And in finding it, she had discovered something even more important. She had discovered that compassion was not weakness, that one person could make a difference, that truth, no matter how long buried, would always find a way to rise. The galaxy would never be the same. And Emma Collins, 19-year-old intern from Earth, was just getting started. Roared into the void. The sound carried across space, picked up by every receiver in range. It was not a sound of anger or threat. It was a sound of joy. The Guardian lived. And the truth was free at last. But they did not know what was coming. They did not know about Emma Collins. They did not know that humanity now carried the gift of truth-seeing. They did not know they had already lost. And in that moment of perfect trust, something extraordinary happened. Emma looked into that ancient, suffering eye and made her choice. "Tell me what you need," she said. "Tell me how to save you, for..." The door opened. Jake and Doctor were already there in their protective suits. They looked nervous but ready. "Let us go find out what has been crying for help for 800 years, Emma said. She stepped into the airlock, and the door closed behind them.